Good evening, everybody. A warm welcome and thank you to all for joining us today for the unveiling of Pluxee Employee Benefits Whitepaper and this panel discussion we have with our industry experts. I'm Shruti Nair and I'm thrilled to host this session where we will be discussing the employee benefits landscape in India, and we will deep dive into a one-of-its-kind study done within our rich B2B ecosystem. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our guests for the evening. We have Sebastien Godet, Chief Revenue Growth Officer, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia. He will kickstart the session today and unveil the Pluxee India Employee Benefits Whitepaper for us, followed by Harish Sarma, Chief Marketing and Product Officer, Pluxee India, who will share his key highlights of the study. And then the powerhouse discussion, which will be moderated by Anish Sarkar, CEO, Pluxee India, and he will speak to Mr. Dinakar Raj, SVP Head, HR Operations, SMFG India Credit, Mr. Nasir Sheikh, SVP and Head of HR, Atos Global Tech Foundations, Mr. Neeraj Sharma, Vice President, Total Rewards Synchrony. Post that, we will open the floor for the audience members, and you can ask the panel any questions that you may have. To start off, let's give a warm welcome to Sebastien Godet. Sebastien has been instrumental in propelling Pluxee's growth across key markets, including India. His leadership has been a driving force on Pluxee's path to success. Today, he'll be unveiling the highly anticipated Pluxee India Benefits Employee Whitepaper.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you for this great introduction. It's my pleasure, of course, to be part of this webinar. Good evening to all of you, and thank you for joining this special webinar, where we are very proud to launch and unveil the Pluxee India's pioneering white paper on employee benefit. Let me share first a few words about our company journey. You know, back in 1976, Pluxee, we were then called Sodexo BRS, was founded in France in 1976. 20 years later, we started our operation in India. Another 20 years after, in 2017, we launched our multi-benefit platform. And last year, we rebranded Sodexo into Pluxee to reflect our positioning to employee engagement, employee benefit, beyond our well-known meal and gift product. India has a special place for Pluxee's heart. This is a strategic market where we serve 11,000 clients and 3.5 million consumers enjoying more than 20 different employee benefits. So we have indeed a deep understanding of the local market, and we tailor solutions to meet specific needs of the Indian employees. Personally, I have the chance to oversee our Indian operations since 2015, and I have seen the Indian market evolve significantly since then. You want today to personalize and have flexible benefit to cover vast variety of employee needs. The trends show a rising focus on well-being programs, mental health support, financial wellness, flexible work arrangement, etc. So this becomes more and more important to attract and retain your talents. Our white paper on employee benefit aims to address those needs by providing insights and solutions. This study dives into existing systems, identifies the key challenges, and highlights the opportunities for facilitating employee benefit administration. It also shows the main trends shaping the future of employee benefit, their administration, and strategies to optimize benefit for your employees. So I would like today to thank the HR leaders for participating in our panel discussion today. Their expertise will be invaluable as we explore the findings of this white paper and discuss together how to design a winning employee benefit strategy for today's workforce. It is then my pleasure to officially unveil the Pluxee Employee Benefit Whitepaper. A link will be shared on this platform in the Q&A section shortly, and you will be sent to you over email after this webinar. Thank you very much, and I hope everyone benefits from these study findings and enjoy a fruitful panel discussion. Over to you, Shruti. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sebastien. We will be adding the link in the chat right away. But before that, I'd like to now invite Mr. Harish Sarma, Chief Marketing and Product Officer. He will speak about his brainchild, the Employee Benefits Whitepaper. Please take the stage, Harish.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome for everyone who's joined us this evening, and a special thanks also, for joining us for this pioneering white paper that we've been working on for a while. It's a momentous day, not only because we are launching our paper today, but as Indians, we have an important match today evening, a semi-final that we play against England. Of course, we are going to win, but so it's nice to be present with all of you on a memorable day like this. But sticking to the cricketing analogy, this white paper is about also how your employee benefit strategy and what you do in terms of your employee experience is not necessarily your impact player or your impact sub, as it came up in this new IPL, but how it's that core all-rounder as part of your strategy and a core member in your strategy to build a better workplace. At Pluxee, it's our stated purpose to bring you more of what really matters, and that's the direction and endeavor in which we launched this study. Because our company is not only about offering best-in-class products, platforms, employee engagement resources, but also bringing you trends, thought leadership, which can help us co-develop the future of employee benefits in the country. So the study, as Sebastien pointed out, is about unveiling, unearthing trends, challenges, and of course, opportunities that can help us together build the right employee benefit strategy for the future. So I'm a marketing person. I need to show you some slides, otherwise I would be amiss. So I'm just going to put up my slides and I'll talk you through the key findings of the study. While it comes up, I'll start probably with the methodology of the study, because I'm sure all of us are interested to know, how did we go about the study, etc. So these are the parts that we already spoke about. We believe it's one of its kind study on employee benefits in India. It focuses on highlighting current trends, challenges in adoption from an employer standpoint, but also from the lens of the employee. And as we said there, we've also tried to unearth some future trends, or what is it, the direction in which the employee benefit space is evolving. Coming to the methodology very quickly. Sorry. Yes. So it was a quantitative study, email-based study that we rolled out to close to 15,000 corporate decision makers across industries. While there was representation across a wide array of industries and people, the core of our study was focused on HR professionals, on finance professionals, on admin, and we also have representation from the business standpoint, marketing, sales professionals, but also importantly, startup co-founders, SME owners who contributed to the study. So huge thanks for everyone who helped us bring this study to life. If we talk about, and I'll just touch upon a few parts on this study, and I'd request all of you, as Shruti said, we will be uploading it here, but you'll also be receiving the study over email after the webinar. Please feel free to go through it in detail, and there are a few details also that we left there for key colleagues within Pluxee. You please feel free to reach out to us if you'd like to co-explore some aspects which are more of your interest. Sticking now to a few fundamental findings of the study. First of all, I think we saw there is a good amount of what we can call focus on basics. So I think the employee benefit space is well understood. There are a few benefits which we saw are, like commonalities. From an awareness standpoint, though, we saw around 56% of decision makers that we polled said that they are aware of the potential benefits and advantages of, rolling out employee benefits. So there are two aspects to this. 56% is not, of course, 100%. So there is still some room there in terms of building more awareness. But the second aspect also, interestingly, is what came out through our study is that out of the 56% also, only 45% today said that they are offering two or more, on an average, 45% are offering two employee benefits. And those are the two that we put out. There is some sort of a meal card or a meal wallet arrangement that's in place. And there's something that's in the space of leave travel allowance. So this is a space which we can, which of course that means that there is more room to bring in more benefits and use that as a strategic pillar to improve your employee experience. What we also try to understand from these decision makers is what is inhibiting them from rolling out more benefits. And there were a lot of trends that you can see in the study, but I'll touch upon a few. There is, of course, the whole area around processing time and energy to roll out benefits. There is a manual intervention part which came out as an underlying trend. And there was also the management of claims, etc., which came. So these were 2-3 of the top indicators that I thought we should share with you. Moving on to the awareness, which was the second area. Interestingly, what came out was even in companies where there are a lot of benefits being offered, there seems to be this gap in terms of communication. And they said that a good percentage of their employees, according to them, don't necessarily understand the power that employee benefits puts in their hands. So there's this communication area that can be worked on. This is probably one of our key findings. And I think our panelists after this will also speak about this briefly. But coming to the employee side of the lens, when we ask these, them why do they think their employees, don't do it, or these decision makers themselves are employees? What are the key challenges they see from the lens of the employee? The trends that came out around mainly again are something around claim submission time, the time it takes to approve, and difficulty in tracking because of the mechanism that their company is following. So these are a few trends again, and we delve much deeper into this in the study. Moving on to the topic of digitization, which we tried to explore a little bit in detail. So what came about here in the study is that 57% companies we saw of those who polled have still follow some sort of a manual or a paper-based process to administer claims. Sorry, 57% do something on which is around in the digital space. So 43% still have some sort of a paper-based mechanism that they are using. But more interestingly, of the 57% too, only 30% today said they have some sort of a mobile application dedicated to help their employees use employee benefits. So this is in sharp relief with the trend of digitization that we see in our country, and this kind of ties back to some of the feedback we had on tedious and time-consuming administration, which led to further problems like employees having to wait for a week or more to know even the status of their claims that they submit to their company. Finally, it's all coming to the other but more positive and rosier aspects of it. We saw across companies and people we polled, there is a wide appreciation of employee benefits and how it can put you on the fast lane towards improving your employee experience, and how it can be help you steer yourselves to, or your company to, business success. So there is a lot of adaptation to change. Specifically, a trend that came out was adapting the employee benefit strategy to this entire new hybrid work setup that many companies are still following. And here we saw, when we put this in the context of employee benefits, a willingness or an indication to bring in new benefits like Wi-Fi benefits for people who are working from home, or travel arrangements like cab reimbursements for employees who work in some sort of a hybrid setup. We also saw a great interest or an indication in having a more holistic approach to employee benefits, which means looking at employee well-being. 20% of those who polled indicated that their company is already offering some sort of a health and wellness offering. But that, again, emerged as one of the core benefits that they are looking to introduce in the next 12 to 24-month window. The second one there was employee motivation. This, again, probably ties back to hybrid, because motivation is about making the right intervention at the right time. And when your employee is hybrid or not, you're not meeting them every day, that's when, that happens to become a key area to address. So this is in substance what we are. So the study will give you some interesting opportunities. What came out of it is that offering a range of benefits, communicating about them effectively to your employees, with your employees. Finally, using digital as a key lever of your employee benefit strategy. These were the three key areas, if I had to leave you with, which are there. There is much more to read on the white paper or the study, and we hope you can make the most of it. Shruti, back to you.
Thank you so much, Harish. It already seems so insightful, and I'm sure all of our viewers would really want to read this paper. Just to remind everybody, we've already put the link in the chat, so you can read the entire research white paper from there. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Anish Sarkar, CEO and Managing Director of Pluxee India, to lead the discussion with our esteemed panel. Anish is a seasoned leader with a wealth of experience and is at the helm of Pluxee India, guiding the company with remarkable commitment and dynamism. Anish, please lead the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. Thanks for teeing this up. It's actually my, first of all, I want to thank all the panelists, Sebastien, and I see we have over 500 people in the audience and counting. So thank you very much to everybody who have joined, and looking forward to seeing what, of course, our panelists have to say, but also looking at the findings of the white paper. So great to see so many of you here on the call. With that, let me come to the panel. And I think, Shruti, thank you. You've already introduced our panelists. I'm sure, given their diverse and rich experience, all three of you will provide, I think, insights and practical experiences that will bring to life some of the findings of the study for our audience. So maybe in the interest of time and without further ado, let me jump in. And Dinakar, perhaps if I may come first to you. And sure. Yes, and then maybe if I can just ask this first, a fundamental question on the benefit strategy or designing a benefits package. I think as we saw from the study, there are perspectives from the employer, obviously, and then there are perspectives from the employee. But in your experience, how can the organization design a benefits package that is both attractive and obviously valuable to the employees, but also financially and administratively sustainable for the company? Maybe if you can give your perspectives, Dinakar.
Sure. Anish, there was a time when benefits were looked at as a retention strategy. Now with the demands of employees going up, benefits is more like a hygiene factor now. The expectation is that what more can an employee get? That's how employees are behaving, and whatever benefits that we offer has to be technology driven. There was a long time when personally we did not look at meal coupons because there was a delivery involved. But the moment it became digital, it became easier for us to offer that to employees. And the technology platform also makes it a great leveler, in the sense that irrespective of the location, irrespective of the grade of the employee, the benefit remains the same, the access remains the same. And as an organizations, we continuously look at trying to retain employees on various measures. Benefits is one such, where it has a lot of impact. It has an engagement value involved. There are some benefits which might impact a specific set of individuals, but the kind of impact that it has is much more, because there could be a cohort of senior level employees who use a specific set of benefits. So this is how organizations are looking at benefits, while it ties into the total rewards philosophy of the organization as well.
Okay. Thank you, Dinakar. In fact, you mentioned an interesting point on senior people. We work with obviously so many organizations and consumers. One of the things that certainly I have noticed is in most of our client organizations, even we have all the senior people, including very prominent CEOs, founders, all taking these benefits. And it's quite interesting because one would think that, it wouldn't matter to them, but they all take it. So which means that it's actually valuable across the organization, top to bottom, left to right. Thanks for that perspective, Dinakar. Yes, maybe Nasir, if I may come to you now, same question. What is your perspective on how to design good benefits packages from both the employer and employee's perspective?
First of all, thank you very much. So good afternoon from the warm city of Mumbai, right now in the midst of monsoon. So I think Dinakar covered the major points. Since we've got a long way to go and many other questions to handle, I wanted to add one very important aspect to the selection and design of any benefit. I think the time it takes for us to implement has suddenly become very important. And that also leads to being able to either do it by yourself or to find a vendor with whom we might be able to work, who will be able to take us down, because the ultimate objective is for you to launch and make the benefit be available to people. So that's part one of it. And the reason why timing is very important is because for the benefit to kick in and for people to start utilizing that, there is a period. And the gestation period would depend on the complexity of that benefit. Whether there is a tax advantage to it, the utilization of that is time dependent, and so on and so forth. So I think two aspects are important to all the players, that how quickly you'll be able to implement, and whether there is somebody else who will be able to get it out there quickly for you in order for that to become relevant. Thank you so much, Anish.
Thank you, Nasir. Yes, that's a great point. And as you know, for an implementation partner, you don't need to look any further than Pluxee to meet all your benefit needs. Sorry, I just wanted to push in that plug quite shamelessly. But anyway, thank you for that perspective, Nasir. I think great point. And then maybe Neeraj, I come to you. Your perspective on this topic, and it sets the stage, of course, to deep dive on other aspects. But what is your view in terms of in your experience? What are some of the factors in designing a good benefits package which makes sense for both employees and the employer? Neeraj, I don't think we can hear you. Possibly you may be on mute.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for reminding, Anish. And thanks, Anish, for having me part of this panel discussion. And the way I look at this is into two parts. One is what is the core philosophy of the benefits, and one is what is the budget that I have. So if I get these two starting points very clear, then probably I can strategize what are the benefits that I would want to make. And then comes the second part of it, how do I do it? First part is what, and then is how. From a how point of view, it is important for me to understand what is driving my benefits proposition. Is it my core benefits, which I definitely want to ensure that there is a medical insurance or a life insurance or a death insurance or a disability insurance. So I should define my core benefits first, where I will definitely ensure everyone is being given those. Then is the second part, that because there will be benefits that will cater to few sections and not all. That is why I'm saying core and the various sections, the diverse workforce that works with us. Then with which industry I am part of, so probably doing the benchmark. And then most importantly, where do I want to position myself in the market? Do I want to be a market leader, or I want to be at a 50th percentile of the market? And then accordingly design those benefits. And I can share with you the way we do in our organization at Synchrony is where we ensure that we listen to our employees, and then we co-create the benefits with our employees. And that is where various channels that we use is the roundtables with our employees. We do Ask Us Anything, wherein we get onto a global platform and employees can ask us anything. That gives us a lot of inputs, which tells us what is working and where we need to think a little more. And that is why I'm using the word co-create. So by design, we have a platform where we listen and we ensure that the propositions that we make exhibits our values, which is care. So to give an example, like maternity leaves, first to childbirth is 26 weeks as per the law, and third child onwards is 12 weeks. So we heard our employees, and employees made a point that the children are the same, whether it is third or a fourth. Why 12 weeks if that is what the law says? So we said, we also, took back and understood that it is a right thing to say. So that is where we said, okay, all children will be treated equally, and it is 26 weeks, not doing exactly what the law says. So these are few things I think which I would want to share, Anish.
Thanks, Neeraj. I think great perspective, and that last point you mentioned. I think it's great that you guys did that, and I think at the end of the day, treating every employee and looking at the human aspects, and I think that's also what a good benefit strategy should aim to address, treating and looking at employees' needs as a human being. Thank you. I think thanks all of you, Dinakar, Nasir, Neeraj, for your perspectives on this opening question. Maybe I go to another specific topic now, and one of the findings we saw in the survey is that one big gap, even if and Harish briefly touched upon it, even if there are a lot of benefits provided by the company, there's still a lag in terms of the awareness that employees have, and then resulting in the actual adoption, because as we know in India, it's quite flexible, and employees usually have the choice to choose their benefits. So on this topic, maybe Nasir, if I can come to you first, what could be some of the best practices in your experience in terms of actually communicating what the company is doing or the benefits that the company is offering to employees, so that they're aware and can then take an informed decision on whether they want it or not?
So thank you for that question. I hope I'm audible. So there are the key to any benefit being successful is, like I said in the previous point, that it has to be timely, number one. And number two is that how quickly are you able to train your people in being able to utilize that benefit. So I have a very unique work environment, like many others. So there is, for the work that we do, it's a global delivery center. So we have international customers that we service from India, and we've got all kind of locations over here, and plus people are working from home. So the first thing that we have to do is to decide as to what is the time it is going to take for you to be launching that benefit, and also continuing to train people, because you will have new people coming and joining you every time, because there are people who are leaving you and there are people who are coming and joining you. That's the nature of business. So everybody new who's coming in, so there has to be a similar package that you offer to everybody else in onboarding. Instead of trying to get everybody done in a quarterly or an annual fashion, I think it has to be very agile, that it has to be done exactly at the time when people are joining, so that they do not have to wait for the next 2 or 3 months to get onboarded. So number one point on communication, very important. Second, I think when we work with anybody, especially with a vendor, especially with a third party, and when there are multiple aspects to a particular benefit, getting it done physically has been very important to us, because the physicality of that event actually brings out many aspects that come in from people who attend that particular session, and that can be telecasted live. So I have the advantage of doing it physically and as well as doing it telecasting it. So the idea really is not just to do a digital event for the people who are working from home. I think you need to do an event which is physical for your people, getting live feedback and also relaying it to the people who are watching it from wherever they are. So that that tie-up and making it happen, whether it is third party or internally, is important. And last but not the least is, for any benefit today, there are certain things that you do or don't, which actually saves you a huge amount of time in getting it weather approved. You should know as to what the limits are. So the administrative cost of any benefit needs to be brought down to the least minimum so that when it gets utilized, it has to also get approved. So they're also letting people know as to what is it that one needs to do for that to benefit to be available to them. That training is also very, very necessary. And that can actually be injected from time and again, whether you're trying to do that with a document, with a small video telecast that you're doing it to people, because we're working in an IT industry, at least from my side, because my colleagues are from other industry. So I'm being sensitive, because depending on the platform that your employees are using, whether it is mobile or laptop, and how people are connected on a daily basis, I think those smaller ways of connecting with people and letting them know becomes necessary. Sorry if I've taken longer, Anish.
No, I think Nasir, thank you. It was a very comprehensive answer, and I think thanks. I think it's great that you broke it up and looked at the different aspects. Maybe if I can come to you, Dinakar, to see is there anything from your experience would you like to add to this topic of how to better communicate and increase awareness of the benefits offered to the employees so that more employees can use it can take them up.
Sure. Thanks, Anish. In fact, the organization that I work for has a large field force, where 70% of our staff probably do not have an email ID also, and they might not have a computer provided to them. In that case, we use a combination of methods. We definitely use emailers to a large extent, wherein we expect the supervisor to help the team members get the message. Incidentally, social media also becomes a medium wherein we extensively use WhatsApp. There are various groups which are there within the organization. While it's not so formal, there are organizations which have tools like, let's say, a workplace or a Viva Engage provided by Teams. It's like a Facebook within the organization. That becomes again a good way to communicate to people. And the basic tenet has to be that in terms of communication to employees, more is always less. You have to constantly keep doing it. And it has to be like a carpet bombing. You have to cover all the bases. You'll have to use all the modes which are available, and only then the message goes down. And the second part to it is that whatever benefit that we provide, while as an organization, the administration can be taken up, but it has to be very intuitive for the employee to use the platform. That becomes very important, because that's when people start communicating to each other saying that, okay, fine, I've used this, have you taken this up? That's when the people using the benefit also goes up. So to sum it up, communication has to be, across mediums as much as possible. Number two, the benefit has to be easy to administer for the employee. The organization can take up a bit of administration, but for the employee, it has to be very user friendly and intuitive as well. That's it, Anish.
Thanks, Dinakar. Yeah, all great points. Thank you. And I think obviously as HR leaders, the last thing you want is you spend, and Nasir also referred to it in terms of the time to implement, the cost to implement, and the last thing you want is you take all that effort and then you see a very small percentage of people or employees opting for it. So I think these are all great points which I'm sure will be useful for the audience as well. Maybe Neeraj, let me come to you for the next question. You know, COVID has changed our world probably for forever. I still remember it was right after COVID that I met you, Neeraj, at a Starbucks in a Gurgaon mall. And I think I still remember it was, well, not too many people were out. A lot of the shops were closed. But of course, we met and discussed business. That's not the situation today. I think we are all back to office in some way or the other. But it's also equally clear that the hybrid work environment is here to stay, at least for many industries. And, you know, obviously we have now a workforce which is distributed, which is, you know, in many cases, even contract workforce, along with permanent employees, gig workers and all of that. And of course, different forms of hybrid. So in your experience, maybe Neeraj, if you can share, what are some of the challenges of administering benefits to this kind of a workforce in a hybrid environment? But then what could be also some opportunities to use benefits to bring this organization together or to make employees feel that, you know, even if they're not seeing their manager or their office on a daily basis, that they understand the DNA of the company and feel connected. So maybe if you can share your thoughts on this, Neeraj.
Sure. So Anish, I think hybrid has brought its own challenges along with the learnings which are there, and at least I can say that we are still learning in this environment on how to ensure that we are able to reach out to the employees to let them know what is our culture. Because in the hybrid environment, because everything has to be known by the employees. Now, how do we communicate? As to your previous question on the communication, actually communication is the key to anything that we would want to do, whether it is benefits, drive culture, drive conversation, drive behavior, drive productivity, anything that we would want to do. So I think we've been exploring at Synchrony about almost 3.5 years now. And the way we started is we said that we really don't know how will we do it, but we'll make an attempt to do it, and then we'll see where do we land. And in the journey, you know, there will be learnings that will come. So we started with like flexibility with choice at Synchrony, and that too being a contact center, we took that bold step that people can stay where they are. And once the pandemic started going away, then again, as I shared earlier, to our values, where we listen to our employees in a larger platform, employees said that, okay, you know, everyone is asking people to come back to the office. Do we also come back? We said, okay, what is that you want? Then everyone said that, okay, we want to remain where we are. We've developed the support system. We said, okay, stay wherever you are. We continue with this model. And we'll continue this model till the time the performance is not impacted. And also, then we started exploring how do we develop. And that is where we came out with regional engagement hubs. Our office is only in Hyderabad. Then we made virtual hubs, Eastern, Western, Southern, and Northern. And every quarter of each year, we intentionally do some activities. Maybe we'll meet together for learning opportunity. We'll meet together to go maybe to a place and share some best practices. So these are few examples, Anish, which we are exploring while we are working in a hybrid environment, that how do we communicate better from for all the benefits. Like we leverage the platforms quite extensively. We have MS Teams. In MS Teams, we've created a total rewards link pan-India, so that everything that we do, we post there. That is how we spread education. Every week, there are 2 mailers that goes to the employees with a snippet about the benefit. And we nudge the employees by providing a link there so that they go to our intranet and take the remaining learnings from there. So these are few examples, and one more before I pass it back to you. every quarter we do ask the benefits call globally, wherein we tell employees that there is a platform where you can come and ask if still you have any queries. Now, why do we do that? Because maybe in the hybrid environment, one takeaway that we as an organization have is that now employees are actually making time more to ensure to attend those calls which are there versus when we were at office. Because at office, it was more of a town hall and getting a lot of people wasn't that easy. But at least in the hybrid environment, the opportunity is there that you can listen to a call and simultaneously do a multitasking. So that opportunity gives the employees an environment to learn more about the benefits on the various mediums that we have co-created with our employees.
Thanks, Neeraj. Great points. Maybe on the same topic, Nasir, if I may come to you as well, because in your organization or in your experience, I guess you've also seen hybrid up close. So in your view, what would be some of the challenges and maybe associated opportunities as well in terms of offering benefits in a hybrid kind of workforce? Maybe if you can share your thoughts.
So I think my friend Neeraj just covered quite a few points. Let me add some more value to it by bringing in 2-3 new dimensions to it. So number one, when we are hiring people into the organization, so the benefits and the package of benefits is of course very, very attractive. Dinakar has already spoken about that. Now, once you join the organization, it's available, but it actually may not be used. Now, this is true to the people who come in from multiple organizations. So they've been chasing 2 companies, 3 companies before they come to you. And obviously, you would want them to stay longer, but there definitely is going to be a time when they move. So the younger the generation there is, the higher your responsibility in training them. So in the hybrid environment, what happens is, when we used to all work together, there was a very Gurukul parampara into the IT industry that your seniors would tell you what needs to do, your neighbor would tell you what to do. In a hybrid environment, please remember that you're isolated. So the first thing that you do is that anybody who's working in a hybrid environment and probably not even come into the office, that person will have to have a better understanding holistically of where the benefit is going to be advantageous to them, number one. And I spoke about new generation. And every time there is a new generation who's going to be coming and joining you into the company, so the average age is going to be much lesser. They probably may be very good and highly technical and skilled in what they do, but they may not know the overall tax environment in the organization or the country, because this may be the first job, maybe the second job. To train them on what advantage they have into the tax regime of the company and how does the benefit tie into it, number one. Number two, what is it that they need to do in terms of planning? So even today, when I say that I want to buy an additional benefit for, say, let's start with meal card, or I might go into buying something as an additional insurance and so on and so forth. So some amount of understanding of that benefit is required in order for me to forecast. And for the newer generation, I think that understanding is very important, and that discipline needs to be brought to them as an augmentation. Back to you, Anish.
Thanks, Nasir. And I think you covered a couple of great points. In fact, one of the points you briefly touched upon is also a question I see on the chat. So maybe I would just throw that open. So I'm just paraphrasing the question a little bit. You just touched upon it. You talked about how people are evaluating different job offers. But as HR leaders, how do you see benefits as something that can differentiate your company and attract potential employees, who are evaluating different job offers? So, I mean, we've talked about the operational aspects of benefits, but how does it help differentiate the employee in the job market? Sorry, the employer in the job market. I don't know, would any of the panelists like to take this question?
I can take that up, Anish.
Go ahead, Dinakar.
See, in terms of benefits, every organization has to be, benchmarked against the peers. Okay, that is rule number one, because the kind of organizations that people are coming from, they would compare. Okay, these were the benefits that I had in my current organization. Is the future organization offering it, or is it something better? And the endeavor always has to be, again, budgets permitting. How can you be better than the peers around you? That is number one. And also, many of these employees, the challenge with benefits is that you have a target set of population. How many of them are actually taking up that benefit, and how do you move that needle? Like, for example, if in a salary sacrifice model, there are certain benefits. 20% of the target population is currently taking it, and that's what the market study also shows. Now, how do you make that 20% as 30%? How do you move that needle up? I think that's where communication comes into the picture. And that's where you would see that engagement levels start going up, compared to the market. Your organization, has a larger number of employees who are utilizing the benefits and are kind of feeling engaged with the organization. I think these are the two ways in which organizations need to look at, benefits differently.
Sure. Thanks. Continuing with what I see on the chat, I think, and I'll talk about two things. So one is, there is a question on what are the specific benefits that we are talking about. Now, I think from my perspective, or what Pluxee as a provider in this market sees, I think Sebastien mentioned it earlier, we offer more than 20 benefits. Now, what could these be? These could be things like, meal, LTA, fuel, telecom, a lot of these things, but also some benefits that became popular post-COVID, things around gadgets and equipment, for example. Sometimes it could be a work from home allowance, which has some specific, uses. But increasingly, we are also seeing benefits which are not the traditional ones, but also things which are around learning or well-being. And in fact, I wanted to come to the well-being topic because there were a couple of questions related to it, and maybe I'll throw it open to the panel, because this topic of well-being, and well-being is a larger topic, well-being, wellness. So there's physical well-being, mental well-being, financial well-being. So, and I'm again trying to distill and consolidate from what I see in the chat, throwing it to the panel on this topic of well-being, wellness. What role do you think benefits can play with employees? So just a very open question in terms of what you're seeing in your organization or what you see in the market. So just throwing it open to the panel. Would anybody want to take a stab at that question?
Sure, I can start with. So I think, Anish, you mentioned the various pillars on the total well-being. And that is where I think we have to be really mindful about each pillar and how do we deliver it and what is that we want to deliver. So at Synchrony, we take care of financial well-being. So we have dedicated a month where we do the financial education to the employees. And then, as again, I'll again tie back to the principles and the values of Synchrony. We listen to our employees, and traditionally all the employers will have that employee assistance program for counseling, where you can call a toll-free number. But what we did is we heard from our employees that I'm comfortable with the session that I'm taking with a person already. And I want to continue that session only. So we introduced that in our benefits package, that you need not call the company provided counselors. And if you are already in touch with someone, please do that. So that is where I think it is important to continuously listen and then co-create with the employees. The way we do it here is benefits carnival, wherein 1 week is completely dedicated to the education on benefits. And all those agendas, the themes which are there across the organization, where we touch upon all the various important aspects to mental health. And we also, by design, say that we have to ask that, am I giving you a safe space at work? Are you able to bring yourself completely at work? Do you think that you are being judged at work? So we keep on asking these questions to co-create with our employees that environment where everyone feels safe at workplace.
Thanks, Neeraj. I think, yeah, it's great to see, the benefits month, etc. The point that you mentioned, I think these are all great ideas to bring focus on specific topics. And like you said, all the pillars are important. And I think this, at least even we see, is a super important area, health and wellness, in terms of what a lot of organizations are looking at, especially post-COVID. I think we are, running out of time, and I think we addressed some of the questions already. So maybe just to close out the panel, I'm going to ask each of you to just give a closing thought on the topic of benefits, but maybe also a larger employee experience, a trend that you see in terms of future employee experience or benefits. Maybe just a closing thought from your side for the audience. Maybe we can start with you, Dinakar.
Yeah, thanks, Anish. See, one of the things that we've often seen in my current organization is that employees want flexibility. I think that's going to be the flavor, at least in the coming 3 to 5 year time frame. Now, when I say flexibility in terms of benefits, I'm talking about the holistic benefits. Right from wellness to the insurance benefits to the mandatory benefits which are provided. I think in all of these, the employee seeks flexibility, especially the new age workers who are coming in. Again, depending on the average age of the organization, the kind of demography that people come from, each organization will have a different need. But yes, flexibility is something that we will see more and more happening on the benefit space. And we as an organization, we've already started moving in that direction.
Thanks, Dinakar. Yes, great point. Maybe Neeraj, your closing thought for the audience on this topic.
From an employee experience perspective, I think it is important that how easily we reach out to the employees, make the information accessible with ease. Transactions that are being offered through the benefits portfolio, how easily they can be administered, and how quickly the money can come to me if we are saying it is a benefit, or I can avail that benefit. And in case I have a concern, how smoothly and timely it can be addressed will add a lot of impact to the employee experience from a benefit standpoint.
Great. Thanks. So I think we had flexibility, we had, ease of administration and the overall, experience for the employee as this is being administered. Maybe final word to you, Nasir. Closing thought for the audience on the topic.
So just to add a couple of new dimensions to this. See, technology today is aging on a monthly basis. So knowing what you're using to offer that benefit to people needs to constantly be on a treadmill as far as the organization is concerned. And that does not need to test with your own IT or your own ambitions of IT growth. It also needs to see as to what is being offered from the market. So Pluxee comes into play again over there. Second dimension is the ease with which today everybody is complaining about KYC. You do KYC for everything. Everybody is doing KYC again and again and again. I think that also at the heart of employee declarations, for example, just it's a simple topic, but for everything that we are trying to offer as a benefit to the employee today, there has to be a co-option where you are giving that access to people in order for them to be able to do that electronically, so that all the declaration is just one simple example, but there are multiple topics to it which are connected with technology that I will not get into. So things which are going to make it easier for people to do within the framework that you have. And last but not the least, because employee experience today, everybody is talking about it, is not just starting with benefit. I think it is about, and this is very important to me, is helping people make a connection between savings and benefit, value and benefit, ease and benefit. So if we are able to connect these three dots of ease, savings, and value, it takes you there much faster, because then people are motivated to get there themselves. And then you do it yourself, you bring in somebody else to do that. It becomes a win-win for everyone. Back to you, Anish.
Great, Nasir. I think you put it really, really well. And by the way, as I see the chat as well, you also kind of addressed a couple of the questions that are popping up, in the last few seconds, which unfortunately we will not have the time here. But having said that, we are capturing all the questions and comments, and we will come back on those to the audience later. But with that, I think we've come to the end of the panel. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. I think your insights, the different perspectives that you brought in, and your own personal experiences and opinions, I think have been absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure everyone in the audience will have, taken away a lot of things that they can implement or have as food for thought back when they get back to work this evening, or maybe after the match straight away tomorrow. So thank you, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for this great panel discussion and the time. Before I hand it back to you, Shruti, there is just one more question which I saw right at the top of the discussion, which I thought it would be interesting to address. And basically, the question really is, and let me come to that. Sorry, I just lost it for a second. Curious to know what drove the rebranding idea from Sodexo to Pluxee, and why the name Pluxee. And I thought, since we have Sebastien here in the discussion, Sebastien, if I may ask you to just give a perspective and address this question.
Yes, thank you, Anish. Thank you, and thank you for asking the question, because I believe it's already a good message, as there is an emotional bond with the Sodexo brand, and I do share. But I think this very white paper is a good example that we are going beyond meal, beyond gift, because what Sodexo brand was iconic for. So one of the key reasons was why we rebranded Sodexo BRS into Pluxee is exactly to go beyond meal and gift, beyond our usual core business, and to be able to accompany you guys into this new flexible, diverse, versatile benefits that you are mentioning, to be able to invest in technology so that you don't have to invest in communication so that you don't have to. And honestly, we believe that it was important to convey a more digital, more comprehensive message with this brand. And this new brand is a new word. It doesn't exist. Pluxee doesn't mean anything in any foreign language. It's just come with this meaning of plurality. This is this plug, it means more benefits, more services, more products, with this double E at the end. That means employee engagement, employee experience. This is what we are talking about. And this X in the middle, which is our landmark, which shows that we are an enabler, we are a catalyst, we are a marketplace, and we put people together, products, services, clients, employees together. And this is really in the core of the Pluxee DNA. So thank you for the question. Thank you for allowing me to give you a little bit of a message on this. And thank you, most of all, to our great panelists. Thank you. Thank you to the 500 participants who have been with us. And thank you, Harish, Anish, and the team to put this white paper across. And I've read a lot of comments in the chat. My best advice would be, please talk to your sales rep, talk to Pluxee, and we'll try to bring as many answers as we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sebastien. I think it's a great way to close. Maybe Shruti, back to you to close this. I think we're just about on time.
Thank you so much, Anish. Thank you, dear panelists. Thank you, leaders, and thank you, valued viewers. On behalf of the entire Pluxee team, I would like to express our sincere gratitude for making today's session a resounding success. To our esteemed panelists, your insights, expertise were invaluable. The thoughtful discussion you provided on designing sustainable benefits, effective communication strategies, and navigating the hybrid work environment offered a wealth of knowledge to our audience. To the Pluxee leadership team, your dedication, your hard work was instrumental in bringing this event to life. From Sebastian's insightful unveiling of the white paper to Harish's captivating presentation of the key findings and Anish's moderating the panel, each contribution made and played a pivotal role. To our viewers, thank you for joining us. Your participation and engagement made this event truly, truly interactive and ensured a dynamic exchange of ideas. We appreciate your interest. We hope you found this session informative and inspiring. And Pluxee India's Employee Benefits White Paper is still in the chat. And as Harish mentioned, we will be soon sending you an email so that you can read the entire white paper and be informed and find it as interesting and insightful as we did. We look forward to continuing this conversation on employee benefits and their impact on modern workforce. Thank you, everyone, for your participation again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.